The books are very hot on critical thinking skills. It's one of the huge issues that a lot of instructors face when they're trying to deal with ESL students in their classes. And a lot of complaints come out from lecturers and professors saying the students just don't know how to think, or they don't know how to analyze, or they can't think critically. Well, unfortunately, if you tell students that they can't think critically or they can't analyze, it's still a very woolly, vague idea. They really don't know what it is. So it's very important that students are given materials that really help identify what it means to think critically and what it means to analyze appropriately. And that means giving them a clear focus on things like identifying stance, level of confidence, and within this example here, A and E. So you have two exercises within one task that asks to understand stance. So there's a lot of excellent activities like this, and there's other things, for example, other activities ask them to identify if a writer is being dogmatic or tentative or incredulous or skeptical. You know, a lot of stuff I really personally haven't seen in any other EAP book, but is actually very, very critical for them to actually understand what critical thinking skills mean. Now, another feature of all the books is this vocabulary bank. Now, traditionally, vocabulary banks are often filled with words that appeared in that unit. So often it's just a list. The beauty of these vocabulary banks is their main idea is helping students understand what it means to learn vocabulary. So every vocabulary bank is an opportunity for students to gain more insight into what it actually means to learn new words. So there's also a lot of learner training built into these books. And again, it goes kind of hand in hand with that idea of learner independence, not spoon feeding. There's a clear understanding that the vocabulary base that is involved in each of these books is not exclusive or exhaustive. That as soon as they get into that undergraduate program, they're going to meet tons more expressions and phrases and vocabulary items that they haven't been prepared with this type of stuff. But what they have been prepared is to understand how they can then deal with all that new vocabulary. So there's a lot of learner training skills here. The other bank that every book has is the skills bank. So this, along this very, very similar lines as far as learner training goes and learner autonomy, clarifies to students an aspect of a skill. It's either going to be a speaking or a listening skill, a reading or a writing skill, helping students deal with an aspect of that listening, speaking, reading, or writing. So here's an example of dealing with lectures. So not only is it's not just a rehash, it's actual more learner training. So it actually really underpins the point and the point of the exercise types that they've already met. So they've already been introduced to the idea of what do you know about the topic? Have you heard anything about the topic? So prediction activities, activating schemata, that type of stuff. But then they make it crystal clear with skills banks like this, just what it is that students need to know to deal with lectures, for example. And here's the example of what I was talking about with different types of lectures, identifying what these, and sometimes even within a lecture, because it might switch from facts to figures to cause and effect, stages of a process, but that students need the flexibility, therefore, to then record the information in a variety of ways and to understand that it's fine to switch those ways. Okay. Now, one of the features, in my opinion, one of the best features of an already excellent series is the teacher's books. Now, these are the features already that I don't like reading things out. I'm sure you can read these. But the teacher's book is literally twice, if not 3 times as thick as the student's book. And it's not filled with fluff. It's really, really good stuff. They're full of support, guidance, suggestions, help, and usually we don't care so much for teachers' books because it's often basically just a rehash of whatever's in the student book and maybe the answers. Can I just make sure that you guys can all hear me? My microphone just made a funny noise. Thanks, Ken. Could you guys put your hands up if you can hear me? Sorry to interrupt, but I don't understand. Okay. All right. Just my microphone made a weird noise. All right. So I'm glad you're all still with me. Okay. Now, the books, so for example, I've already been highlighting how clear the aims are to the students, that with the lesson introductions and closure ideas, there's a lot of advice and guidance on how to actually plan the lesson, how to deal with students who have perhaps finished first, that type of thing. There are guidance and tips that nudge teachers towards even more focus on prediction tasks, activating schemata. It's all explained in the teachers' books. There's more questions that actually provide aid in concept checking to ask students to establish much more genuine student understanding and eliciting. The information, as it says here, it's very accessible. The teacher isn't interpreting material to then decide how they're supposed to present it in class. All of the material comes from the teacher's perspective. And the extra activities at the very end, I think that's down here. The extra activities, at the end of every unit, there is a page of extra activities, first of all for faster students and for extra revision, extra research opportunities, and at the back of every teacher's book there is an additional 43 pages of further follow-up activities that practice and revise vocabulary, researching strategies, organization of paragraphs, so all the skills and systems, 43 extra pages per teacher's book. And these do include there's a lot of photocopiable activities that can be done, and some templates that can be adjusted as well. All of these extra activities allow for lots of repetition, which is obviously very important, but in a variety of ways. So they keep it interesting, they keep it engaging. But the other important thing to note is the activities are also very aware of the high level of cognitive difficulty that needs to be part of them. Nobody wants to do easy, busy work. There's a lot of research that shows that activities that are high on an affective level, i.e. they're very personalized, as well as being cognitively challenging, those are the activities that really aid in memorization and processing of language. Okay, so the components are the student's book, the teacher's book, and the audio program. Now, the audio program is a mix of British and North American accents. I would say that there is more British accents than American accents, but as I said, there is still a mix. And when we spoke to people at the TESOL Boston conference, we found that people were perfectly happy with there being a mix. Some people, well, actually the majority of people said, oh, fantastic. Ken, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I want to go back to the teacher's book.
Okay.
I just want to make a statement because you alluded to something that is vitally important because of this teacher's book.
Okay.
A lot of our teachers, well, this is new. This is a new approach, and a lot of the professors are not as comfortable with this new approach because they're not content people.
Right.
So these extra activities, this guidance of class management and organization activities, all of this is what we really need, and probably we have a teacher's edition that the teachers will actually use.
Yeah.